Okay, so our lesson today deals with rates and unit rates. So rates, we may have heard, a rate before. What is the rate at which you can type? Or, what is the rate that you are running a race? Okay, so we use it commonly. What rate is talking about, and what the definition of a rate is a comparison. Sorry about my handwriting there. I may have misspelled comparison there. It's a comparison of two different things with different units. So like I said, we can be talking about miles per hour, like a car, miles per gallon, once again, like a car. We could talk about, if you're typing, words per minute, gallons per second, if we're talking about maybe the flow of a liquid, all those kind of things. Now, that's a rate. So we could have something like 5 miles per 2 minutes. All right, or we could be talking about, my car can get 70 miles per 5 gallons, something like that. All right. Now a unit rate is a little different. A unit rate, while it's a rate, we're talking about per one of something. So we could be talking about miles per 1 hour. All right. This is usually what we talk about anyways. We usually talk about unit rates. All right. And that's probably the big thing here. We're just talking about unit rates. The ultimate goal anytime we're solving for a unit rate is get down to 1. If I can get down to 1, I'm perfect. I'm golden. So, let's say that we have a car. We have a car. And this car can travel, let's say we traveled 100 miles. All right. And in 100 miles, it took us, let's say it took us 50 minutes. No. Let's not do 50 minutes. Let's go ahead and do... We'll come down here. We're in a car, and we're traveling 100 miles in 2 hours. And we want to figure out what is our unit rate. Well, what's nice is we can jump back to our ratio table that we talked about last lesson, and we're talking about miles and hours, my two different units there. So I'm going to label one miles and the other hours. And our question might say something like this: how far did the car travel in 1 hour? Well, make my nice ratio table here. All right. And I put in my numbers. Miles was 100. Hours was 2 hours. So the question was, how many miles can I travel in 1 hour? Okay, so I have a 1 down there. And I got to figure out, okay, well, how do I get from 2, just like before our last lesson, down to 1? Well, I'm going down. Remember, we threw multiplication, or we threw addition and subtraction out the window, so it's only multiplication and division. Since I'm going down, I'm going to divide. Anything divided by itself gives me 1, so 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. Now, once again, I have to be fair, so I'm going to divide the top by 2. And 100 divided by 2 gives me 50. So we were traveling at 50 miles per 1 hour. Now, the question could go one more step and say, well, what if you're going on your trip and the total trip was maybe, 250 miles. How long is it going to take you to get there? So time, it's asking you, how long is it going to take you to get there? All right, well, That's easy then. So it's saying that my 250 miles, so I look at my miles section. This is where labeling everything comes really handy. Miles, 250. So up here, let's get blue, 250. All right? And now I'm like, okay, 100. I could use 100, but that doesn't go easily into 250. But I know 50 goes in there perfectly. So I'm going to jump over to 50. And I ask myself, okay, let's see. 50 up to 250. Well, that's a multiplication problem because I'm going up. And I just kind of count by 50s. Let's see. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. So that sounds about 5. So I'm going to multiply it by 5. Once again, what I do to the top, have to do to the bottom. Well, 1 times 5 gives me 5. So it took me 5 hours to travel 250 miles. That is everything that we should need to know about unit rates. Create your ratio table. The big thing is going to be to label. If we don't label, we're going to start putting things in the wrong spot. Because if I didn't see that this was 250 miles and I put it down here at the bottom, if I put my 250 down here, I would have gotten my problem completely wrong. So that's very important that I'm looking at my labels, miles per hour, and I'm putting them in wherever it needs to go in. Remember, multiplication and division only.